Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're joined here in the studio by Engineer Mostafa Naggari, the Deputy Head of the Egyptian Exporters Association and also Chairman of the Grain Committee of the General Federation of the Chambers of Commerce. Engineer Naggari, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
It's a pleasure, Hani, to be tonight with you, and of course I have to extend my congratulations to all Muslims all over the world and for the Al-Fitr feast, and also to our brothers in Gaza, and I ask God for them to grant peace and goodness.
Yes, definitely, sir. Engineer Naggari, now if we're talking about the establishment of the new cities, the new fourth generation cities, dubbed as the environmentally friendly cities, smart cities as well, on top of which we always think of the new administrative capital. We talk about El Galela, New Mansoura, New Damietta, West Port Said, New Suez, all these new cities. Now, Egypt already works, all Egyptians are living on 7% of Egyptian lands, which is basically around the Nile River. How important or how significant has it been, this decision to really expand and move into other areas, the desert-like areas around the country, to really try and disperse the Egyptian population from only just the 7%?
Let me tell you that Egypt is considered to be a special case of overcrowding. And also we have one of the highest population growth rate all over the world.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, that we are living on only 7% of the Republic area, and this was for the reason of water, that all the Egyptians at the time, since decades and since centuries, were trying to live closer to the water, and this was the source of life for them. And of course, for several governments, there was always a constant and steady plans to try to move and to try to use the unoccupied area in the country according to the resources and according to the benefits which you can try to build sustainable communities there. So just a few data which I have to mention, that in 1980 the population density was 6 persons per 1 square kilometer. And in 2023 we have reached up to about 102 persons in 1 square kilometer. This is a very big jump.
Yes.
Very, very big jump. But that doesn't mean that this is the main crisis. The main crisis really comes that in there is discrepancy, huge discrepancy in trying to allocate the people in all the governorates. Some governorates are having only 7 to 10% of each area as inhabited area. And some governorates are reaching 100%. So that was the main problem, is to try to remap the inhabited area for the people, to try to get to the normal international rates, and this have been delayed, if I can say, in several previous governments. But we have seen that since the 80s we started to build tents of Ramadan, or Sadat City, or Abur City, or Borg Al Arab, but it was not quite enough. But starting from 2016, really, the government have stated a very wide plan to build more than 40 new cities.
Yes.
You have mentioned maybe 3 or 4, but I have a very big list out of that. But these cities are you know, characterized on ways to try to cover the high style and high level of living for the people. We know that on the parallel side, of course, there is a program of Haya Karima, decent life,
Yes.
which is trying to improve already the living style and the living level of the people in the countryside. But the new cities are already updated and are designed for the high tech to try to use always the renewable energy and to try to resist the heat emissions and the climate changes, and also to try to minimize the usage of water, which also is a great challenge. And you can imagine how much the government is spending to try to remap,
Yes.
I mean, the allocation of the Egyptians in the coming maybe 10 to 12 years.
Yes. Well, the real estate sector in general and construction, it's basically one of the most active sectors in the country. And it falls in line with the establishment of these new cities. But if we want to convince the people to move from the comfort of the cities that they already have been brought up and living in for decades, what sort of incentives, especially in times of inflation and economic difficulties and challenges for citizens in Egypt and worldwide as well, how can we convince the people to move around? I mean, yes, we started moving the ministries, moving the main governmental institutions, trying to build the new cities and have work hubs and energy hubs in these new cities, but still it needs a lot more motivation for those who really want to move and really want to target and aim for a better standard of living outside of the crowded governorates.
This is the, as we say, this is the plan of cities, of new cities. I mean, first of all, you have to see the resources of each area. You are going to design this new city in, and then you have to always try to accumulate, okay, all activities and the services in this city. So let us say that there should be job opportunities there.
Yes.
There should be good services there. Okay, the people always need schools, they need hospitals, they need universities, they need even you know, parks and amusement areas to be there. And this is what we really see even in Cairo. Everybody is moving in Cairo. Before we used to go from area to another to try to enjoy ourselves. But if you can look now, you can see in each area their attraction. So the people of each area should be staying in their area and not move to other areas. And this is what will happen also in the new cities, that each city will be a full campus and full compound, if we can say, offering all services for those people who are trying to live there. So there should be always jobs,
Yes.
opportunities. There should be always good services to try to attract these people to work. So at the end, we can say that we have been meeting with several people who have moved to New Minya or to New Sohag or to New, and they are really very happy because they say this is a new way of life for them. They have been living in their old cities for decades, and really they see that this is a new life for them. So I can believe that, of course, the government is spending huge money, and many those people who are always talking about spending money, no, they spend the money for future, because we cannot stand anymore in this level. I mean, we see Cairo now is much, much better than 5-6 years before, even in the traffic, in the movement, it's really better. I hope for Alexandria also to be the same. I hope for the Kahleya, for Mansoura, for all of these cities, because really they are using 100% of the inhabited area of their area.
Yes.
You cannot find any expansions for them. And the expansion is also a challenge to try to expand it and to try to find new areas. It's very big challenge for the government. But at the end, a lot of legislation is done. Of course, there should be investments and try to attract investors to come also to this area, because without investments you will not create job opportunities.
Yes.
So at the end, legislation should be easy. Pricing the land should be not in a way of commercial issue, but it should maybe try to attract more the social benefit in this stage.
Yes.
So at the end, I think that the government is doing the best, but we still need to do a lot and to try to minimize population, new populations, if I can say that. But really, we can see that the population growth rate in Egypt is one of the highest all over the world, and this is one of the major challenges for any government, not even the recent government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Engineer Naggari, now, all of these new cities are relatively new, and they're in a very good shape so far. But how do we maintain this high level and the quality of these cities? Because with time and negligence, the level deteriorates a little bit, especially that these new cities have new infrastructure, a lot of new technologies being applied within these new cities that we haven't been used to for many decades now. So what about the sustainability, to make it sustainable, maintaining that sort of level? We know in compounds you can have your own maintenance, I mean, because it's just a compound. But we're talking about new whole cities. So how can we actually make sure that these mega new cities get the same sort of attention and care and maintenance and supervision to maintain this high quality and high standard of living that it aims for?
Yeah, I think that Egypt is having a great experience in the construction field whatsoever. I can tell that there is no such big numbers of bridges or tunnels or roads are executed in such short time. We have been trying to rebuild trained engineers in these sectors for many years. I can tell you also that the project of Decent Life, Haya Karim, is really creating new, if we can, blood in the stream of the engineering habit of the Egyptians. So we have been also talking about that this way of projects can be done in Africa and can benefit, Egypt can benefit a lot, because there is a lot of villages in Africa which needs really a decent life. And the Egyptian companies are having a great experience in that. We only need the finance, and finance can be given by the European Union to try to stop the immigration, if we can say.
Yes.
So Egypt is building always experiences, and we always say that with the Egyptian engineers, several neighboring countries were built in a certain time, and we are always able to create that. The modern cities and the new technology of planning is, as we say, it's a global way of designs which easily can be done. And Egypt is well connected with several either economical agreement or trade agreement with most of the blocks in the world. We have agreements with the European Union. We have agreements with Turkey, with China, and we have seen that a lot of projects are done with the help of these co-investments, as we say.
Yes.
So there is no fear about that. The updated technologies are always easy to get. The point is to try to implement, and we are trying to train always as much engineers to try to train that. The key word now all over the world is the climate change and the renewable energy. And I'm happy to say always that many of the students in Egypt now are moving to these sectors, and they are really happy with this way of studies, because at the end, for the coming 50, 60 years, everybody will be talking about the carbon emission, the zero carbon emission, the carbon cars. Everybody is talking about that. Even for the nowadays technologies and nowadays industries, everybody have to move to zero carbon at the end.
Yes.
So the new cities are much more lucky than the old cities, because they are going to the updated level of all what we are saying now.
Yes. Well, when the government started working on establishing these new cities, it also worked heavily and intensely in building roads and construction and tunnels and bridges and all of that to facilitate the movement from one area to another. But is there also a certain direction that, because you've alluded to the importance of job opportunities being available for citizens to move from one area to another, so are we still, is there a certain direction in terms of working from home or working remotely, that you don't need to spend much time commuting between where you live in a new city, supposedly, to the workplace? I mean, and we started doing that during the corona.
Yeah, I mean, we are just at the moment trying to attract the people to move. So they have to move, and then they can work from homes at the new cities. But at the end, this is a mega project for Egypt. The biggest project I can imagine in all my life, to see that Egypt is building more than 40 new cities.
Yes.
So even some names are not known to the public, but at the end, I have a list of cities which I was trying to arrange for this meeting, and really it is something to be proud of, really. And they are trying, of course, to find the cities in areas which can improve the life level.
Yes.
So you can see that in Upper Egypt have been always that the income and the gross rate in Upper Egypt is less than in Delta, let us say. So you can see huge cities are now under construction, starting from Sphinx, the new city near 6th of October. You have also Beni Suef, you have Minya, you have Asyut, you have Tiba, you have Sohag, you have Akhmim city, New Fayoum, and then you have, of course, Mansoura, you have Malawi as well in Upper Egypt. So at least you have more than 10 or 12 cities in Upper Egypt itself.
Yes.
And then the others coming in Mansoura, as you mentioned, and administrative capital. They have also the garden capital, okay, or the capital garden.
Yes.
It's close to the, and it is a new city, and every area unoccupied is always under study at the time being for new cities. I mean, we mentioned before this interview that His Excellency President Sisi asked the Ministry of Water Supply and Irrigation to have a map of the underground water of Egypt precisely. So according to that, you can even have the resources and where you can going to establish new cities. Of course, as we say, the pearl of the crown is Alamein, and now, of course, Ras Al Hikma. But at the end, we still hope that there will be a new pearls in the crown of Egypt at the end.
So now, you've mentioned, I mean, we started these working on these new cities since 2016.
Yeah.
So what would you say are, or have been the main challenges to establish these new cities? Is it, I mean, you've mentioned water, so is it water resources, the construction materials, the resources there? Are we talking about energy, electricity, infrastructure, other than the roads and the bridges and tunnels? Are we talking about energy? Are we talking about gas? What sort of challenges have been there to establish these new cities?
The main challenge is the legislations for the land. First of all, you know that Egypt area was allocated since decades to only 2-3 entities, and these entities was responsible to either promote or improve, and one was agriculture, one was maybe for the army, one was for the mines, and so on. So, but now you are trying to change the power of attorney, as we say, on the land, from entities to another entities which are able to establish the cities. So it had took time. Maybe many people of the public, they don't realize that, but we are always following that, and you can always see that some areas were allocated for agriculture, and now they are allocated for the construction department or for the construction association. So that's why this was the first challenge, to try to have one door or one window, as we say, so the investor or the people can come to this window and try to facilitate their work. This is one issue. The second issue was the law of, if we say, you have seen that there was a lot of slums in Egypt. And these slums, we are talking about the slums in the cities, but also in the desert there was slums. That a lot of Bedouins were occupying some areas, and they, by years, they considered themselves the owner of that. And there was also another legislation to try to have the correct and real ownership of each meter of the land in Egypt. And this took also a long time, and they took a lot of money.
Yes.
Because you have to compensate these people. So at the end, first of all, you have to have a clear and a clean area ready to be constructed. On this, you have to look for the resources of this land, because not Egypt is having the same unity of distribution of resources. So you have some areas can be industrial areas more than tourism. Some others are tourism, some others is going to be agriculture. So at the end, you have to change and try to allocate areas in a certain area and link them by roads, by supplying water, by water waste. Of course, waste management is one of the major issues in these new cities. You have to get rid of the waste in a very safe and clean way, according to environmental measures. So at the end, it's a mega project which you have to go step one from legislations until, as we say, the turnkey.
Yes.
So.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, really Egypt is working on eradicating slums totally by the year 2030. And obviously one of the projects, Asmarat project as well, heads such a goal to be achieved by the year 2030. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.